You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, woo, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
You are watching the leaders in full immersion gaming, and this is the pregame show only on the NBL Network.
Another season of NBL gets underway tonight, folks. Season 29 kicks off, and we got a doozy of a game for you here on NBL Live. It's the Seattle Seahawks, champions of Season 26, taking on the defending Super Bowl champions, the Detroit Lions, champions of Season 28. We appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. I'm always sure I'm hanging out with my man, Sonny Weaver. And before we get to that game, we, of course, have our NBL Live pregame show. That's brought to you each and every week by Web3KS.com. They're a graphic sponsor here on NBL Live. If you or anyone you know needs graphics done for an affordable price, head over to Web3KS.com. They're easy to work with, and they're the leaders in affordable graphic design. Sonny Weaver, a new season gets underway. It's Season 29. Forget what happened last season. Wipe the slate clean. It's an opportunity for teams to make a mark on the NBL. Who knows what's going to happen this season? My question for you, Sonny, is, are you pumped for Season 29?
Well, you know, I've been here for about 28 other seasons, so excited. The 29th one is probably going to be the best one because we're always moving upward, especially here on the network with content. But we get to start out with a premier matchup. We get, obviously, the reigning Super Bowl champions, but we get a former Super Bowl champion in the Seattle Seahawks, so we should be in for a really good game tonight.
Hey, and while we're talking about the NBL Network, while we're talking about our NBL Live games, let's debut our NBL Live schedule here on Week 1. Nobody's seen this one. You're getting to see it first here on the network, here on Week 1 of NBL Live, and boy, do we have some great matchups. I mean, these are some high-powered matchups. Starting off, of course, with the Lions Seahawks. Next week, we get to see your Tennessee Titans take on the Los Angeles Chargers. That'll be a great game. As I'm looking down the schedule, there are a ton of great games. Week 9, Browns and Steelers. That could be one of those games, of course, that decides that division, one that was so close last season. Week 12, Jaguars and Lions, the BTF Bowl, back on NBL Live. Sonny, this schedule, it is chock full of matchups. Any other ones that you're looking that seem to be one of those that you'd like to be on the call for?
I'm looking to Week 14, the Vikings, Carolina Panthers, ownership between those two teams. Talk a lot of smack.
Best friends.
I think there's going to be a lot of lead up into that game. Maybe you have to bring in some of the comments made in the chat leading up to that week. There's going to be no love lost in Week 14.
And again, folks, all these games subject to change based on availability and, if we find a better matchup. So you never know what will happen here on NBL Live, but we got a lot of great games this week, or this season on NBL Live Season 29. So again, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, go follow us on Twitter at Bomber League. That's where we announce all the game times when they are announced. They're scheduled on a week-by-week basis. So go check that one out over at Bomber League. Now, let's take a look at the players to watch for this Week 1 matchup. And for the Detroit Lions, it's got another ring on his hand, so it may be a little heavier, maybe a little harder to throw, but Matt Stafford is back, and he is ready for the Detroit Lions. Different-looking Detroit Lions team, Sonny. We saw this team with Marshawn Lynch last year, and he is no longer there. So the running game takes a different look because that Lynch was key, especially in that Super Bowl win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was really nice. It's going to be back to, of course, that Matt Stafford air attack offense, but he still has Harvey Beckham to throw to, a year under his belt. This passing attack should be up and flying in Week 1.
Like you said, Harvey Beckham, the main target there for Matthew Stafford. Golden Tate getting a little bit older there. Marvin Jones, I believe, is departed. They do have Doug Baldwin in town, so that'll be interesting to see how they use Baldwin with that group. The question I have, obviously, Matthew Stafford is the engine that drives the team, but they've got some questions at running back. And while the running game has never been a huge part of this Detroit offense, it has come up big in big moments. LeGarrette Blount last year had a lot of touchdowns down the red zone, a place where Matthew Stafford does tend to struggle to throw the ball. And so now I've got questions there. They go out and they get the rookie out of the undrafted free agent. And we'll have to see how that goes. I think Matthew Stafford from one end zone to about the 15-yard line is amazing. When he gets inside the 15-yard line, though, there's a lot of questions. And we'll see how that running back does that.
On the flip side, it is, it's the big money man for Seattle. It's Russell the Love Muscle, Russell Wilson, still at the helm. And Sonny, if you're a guy who's a fan of the NFL players, you're going to like the Seattle Seahawks team because the names that everyone knows, they're still here. Russell Wilson, Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner. I mean, this team is chock full of names. Not a whole lot of young names, though, on this team. The Seahawks team, what are you looking at from them this year? They won the NFC West last year at 7-9. Made it to the playoffs where everybody thought maybe they'd take that upturn that they usually do during the playoffs. They lost in the first round. Is this a last ride for some of these older players on the Seattle Seahawks? What is the message going into season 29 for an aging Seahawks team?
Well, I think the message is let's go one more time, boys, because they still have a lot of talent here on the team. Obviously, Bobby Wagner. Sherman, I think, still got a year. Same with Kim Chancellor. Jimmy Graham getting up there. But Malik McDowell is really coming on to be one of the best defenders on the team. But it really starts with Russell Wilson. And not in the way most people would think. Russell Wilson, the $150 million man, he makes a lot of money. He makes a lot of money. But I'm not sure he's worth what he's paid. And so what you got to figure out is, can Russell Wilson just be serviceable? Can Russell Wilson manage a game? Because that's really what you ask for in Seattle. You ask him to manage the game, hand the ball off, and see what happens. When you ask Wilson to try to go out and win your games, that's when you get in trouble. I'm worried tonight that they're going to have to ask Russell Wilson to go out to win some games, and that's why this one could get out of hand.
The Seattle Seahawks team, guys, if you were wondering, 53-man roster, 15 players on the Seattle Seahawks are at the age of 30 or above, and the majority of them are starters. So an aging team, but this is a team that's been together for a long time, a team that has a lot of chemistry. We're about ready to send it out to the game. Get your predictions into the chat. We'll be reading those throughout the first quarter. Sonny, who do you like in this game? The Lions, season 28 Super Bowl champs, coming in confident. They're going to start out 1-0, or the Seattle Seahawks, who are an underdog in this game for sure, going to get a real put-up or shut-up win over the Detroit Lions and prove that this team may be getting older, but there's plenty of experience here, and they can win the big games when it's necessary.
Well, as much as I would like to go against Matthew Stafford, people know my disdain for the man at times, I'm going to have to go with the Detroit Lions. I don't think the Seattle Seahawks are going to be able to keep pace. I think they'll keep it close in the first half. Second half, Harvey Beckham blows this thing wide open. And so I'm going to say Lions 41-20 over the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow, a big win predicted by our own Sonny Weaver. Let's see what you guys think in the chat. But let's get season 29 of NBL Live underway. Coming up next, it's a champion versus champion battle here in week 1. One of the best matchups we've had opening week. It's the defending Super Bowl champions, the Detroit Lions, taking on the season 26 Super Bowl champions, the Seattle Seahawks. You can only catch it one place here on the NBL Network, and it's coming up right now here on NBL Live.
My name is Rex Dixon.
Craig Stein.
Clint from EA Sports.
You're watching NBL.
You're watching the NBL Network. And you're watching the MBLN Network.
Empty backfield for Atkins. He's been dropping back to pass here on 4th down. He's looking deep over the middle. He has a man. It's Brandon Cooks. Who catches it? Makes a man miss.
Oh, that's
Woodard is
touchdown.
dropping back. He's got to open over the middle.
Wow. That big playmaker ability as he finds him again.
Into the end zone. Another touchdown. Week 1 of season 29 gets underway tonight, folks. It is a great matchup here on MBO Live. Your defending season 28 Super Bowl champions, the Detroit Lions, taking on the NFC West champions from last season and the season 26 Super Bowl champions, the Seattle Seahawks. What a game we have for you, and we appreciate each and every one of you tuning into MBO Live. I'm OSU. I'm hanging out with my man, Sonny Weaver. Sonny, what are we looking for this Seattle Seahawks team? Are they going to be this run-first team that we've seen the last couple seasons? Is this still a Thomas Rawls-led team, or are we going to see Russell Wilson open it up?
Well, if you're asking if I'm going to see Russell Wilson open it up, I'm going to have to go out on a limb and say no. We are not going to see Russell Wilson open it up tonight.
No? Not a chance?
And that's a negative.
Well, we got the Detroit Lions going to be kicking it off to the Seattle Seahawks. And we are underway here on week 1 of MBO Live. Seahawks and Lions. Seahawks going to get the ball first. This ball's going to be taken out of the end zone, up past the 20 to the 25-yard line or so. Call them at the 24. That's where we can see Russell Wilson and his offense come out. Sonny, this team, though, has been effective running the ball. Thomas Rawls has been the engine of this offense. Would you consider Thomas Rawls a top 5 back here in the NBL today?
Today, no. I think at his peak he was. I think he's on the downside of his career now. We'll be curious here to see if he can carry the load here in Seattle this season.
First and 10 for the Seahawks, as it's going to be Russell Wilson under center. Bunch formation, 3 to the right, 1 over to the left. Rawls in the backfield. Graham coming in motion from right to left, and it's going to be handoff to Thomas Rawls on first down. Nice tackle made on the outside to bring down Rawls for a 1-yard rush. Or excuse me, a loss of 1 on the play. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 11, trying to get him outside, but Tease Tabor, the young cornerback who Detroit's put a lot of faith in on the outside, coming up to make the play.
And so Rawls on the outside's always been interesting because, for a bigger back, they've always wanted to try to get him on the outside, and I'm just not sure that is really where he excels. It's more in between the tackles.
2nd and 11 for the Seattle Seahawks. Shotgun formation, 3 over to the right, 1 over to the left. Rawls in the backfield to the left of Russell Wilson, and it's going to be Thomas Rawls getting the carry once again. You could see the Lions recognizing it was going to be a run play. You saw the linebacker come up into the hole early. They bring him down for only a 1-yard gain on the play. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 10. Seahawks relying on Russell Wilson early in the game.
What I'm curious about, you got a weak box here, so you only have 6 guys in the box. You've got 5 linemen, and Thomas Rawls still can't do anything with that box. And a little bit disappointing. This is a line that they're going to actually have to let some guys go here in the offseason to re-sign because I just don't think they have the cap to keep them. So this line's only going to get worse going forward, and that's got to be a big worry here for Seattle.
3rd and 10 for the Seahawks. Shotgun formation, play action pass. Russell Wilson's first pass attempt of the game. Rolling out to the right side, looking, trying to launch it. He tried to cock that one up and throw it out of Ford Field. But it turns out when you take 17 seconds to throw the ball, the defense eventually gets there. It's a sack for this Lions defense. Not a great start for Seattle. If you were hoping to see a team that's going to be able to keep up with a powerful Detroit Lions offense, well, that first drive doesn't instill a whole lot of confidence.
And that's unfortunate there because Wilson actually had someone open if he threw him open. Instead, he waited for him to try to get open, and that gave him just enough time to sack him. Wilson's got to know that when he throws that ball downfield, he's thrown into a zone that's vacated, not one that's just opening up.
Now we can see the Detroit Lions come back out. Fairly uneventful offseason. We saw the loss of Marshawn Lynch retiring with that ring, but not a whole lot going on in Detroit. They didn't have a first-round draft pick this year. Of course, they traded with the Jacksonville Jaguars the year before, ended up getting Harvey Beckham. So I think they're pretty happy with that trade. It's going to be Matt Stafford shotgun, 3 wide receivers, Tate alone to the left side, 2 over to the right as Stafford drops back to pass. He has Harvey Beckham open underneath, and Beckham takes a big hit as he tries to catch that one. Incomplete pass on the play. Beckham is no doubt an athletic talent, Sonny. He is quick. He is so good underneath, but he's not the biggest guy, and Seattle knows that they're going to be able to hit this guy and try to jar that ball free.
Yeah, and I think Seattle's done some scouting. Detroit historically always opens the game with some sort of drag route to Harvey Beckham. You see it there. A lot of times they try to go back to him on back-to-back plays, so look for him maybe to look to Beckham again here.
2nd and 10, Matt Stafford under center, dropping back to pass. Blitz coming up the middle. He's able to get it off quickly and completes it down the field. Shake and bake move. He's got a lot of room. Missed tackles by the defense, and grapevining into the end zone is Rob Gronkowski. First touchdown of the year. It only took 2 plays with an assist from the Seattle defense, diving left and right. The Lions go up early in this game.
You wouldn't expect Rob Gronkowski to still have the moves this late in his career, but he puts the moves on there, and then the surprise is he actually outruns the rest of the defense to the end zone, and that is not how you want to open up if you're Seattle.
7-0 your score after roughing the kicker. They're going to kick this off from the 50-yard line. Sonny, we've seen so many teams face this Detroit Lions team and go down big, and I think, and you've seen a lot of these games too, one of the biggest things that can help get a team into a big hole is missed tackles and not being disciplined on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, they were looking to blow up the Gronk, and I'm not sure that was a good idea from the start because he's the freaking Gronk. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm sorry. There is no blowing up that guy. He's huge. He is massive. As Steve-O is back in the chat saying Lions blowing out the Hawks. Yeah, it is not a great start if you're a Seahawks fan. As Russell Wilson driving back to pass, he looks over the middle of the field, has a man. It's Tyler Lockett who puts the ball on the ground, and it's picked up by the Lions. Oh, bad to worse, as Tyler Lockett, usually sure-handed, did the one cardinal sin and didn't secure the football. It's a fumble. It's a turnover. Folks, I hope you like discussions of our favorite restaurants and movies we've seen recently, because this one could get out of hand in a hurry with the way it's going.
Yeah, this is sounding like it's going to be a Sunny and OSU talk, basically everything but the game kind of night.
You never know. You never know. We've seen weird things. We've seen games end up staying close. Let's see if the Seattle defense can do anything. Welcome to the network, baby. To hand off over to the right side as Romac just subscribed. Certainly appreciate Romac and all of our subscribers here on the NBL Network. That was Albury with the carry, only a yard on the play. Sonny, if you're expecting to see a ground and pound attack from the Lions, even when they're up 30, I think they're looking to air the ball out.
Well, they are. Now, they did go out and get Albury out of he's an undrafted free agent. They really like the kid. He's more of a bruising back in that Marshawn Lynch, LeGarrette Blount mold. They re-signed Keith Marshall in free agency, which was kind of an interesting play there. So a lot of interesting things going on.
PJ Albury out of Notre Dame, undrafted free agent, getting his first carries here in the NBL. And now we just get to see this Lions team an opportunity to do what they... What?
Never mind. I think they got in a bidding war with the Minnesota Vikings over Marshall and lost that one.
Oh, well, that BYPJ Albury is into the game. 2nd and 9 as Matt Stafford dropping back to pass. Looks over. Wow, that one not even remotely in the area of a receiver. He's lucky that wasn't picked off by any of the two Seattle Seahawks there. So we have a 3rd and 9. Yeah, Sonny, Keith Marshall was interesting. They brought him in, thought he would be this sort of revelation to the running game. He just never really got a footing in Detroit. They never really meshed offensively with him and ended up losing his job. Really, Marshawn Lynch got a lot of the carries late in the season.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, Keith Marshall, it seemed like ownership in Detroit was the biggest Keith Marshall fan, so surprised they let him get away. But nonetheless, like you said, running has never been the forte here of the Detroit Lions, so maybe they just didn't quite value it as much as we thought they did.
3rd and 9. 5 wide receivers out there for Matt Stafford. 3 over to the right, 2 over to the left. As Matt Stafford drops back to pass on 3rd down. 4-man rush, looking deep over the middle. Has a man wide open. It is complete down to the 22-yard line. Golden Tate with the catch. And it's a 1st down for the Lions. The Seahawks brought a blitz on that play and only had 2 deep safeties. And Golden Tate split them right down the middle as the Lions are in business on the 22-yard line.
Well, his golden years aren't quite behind him yet. They obviously still value Golden Tate, the sure-handedness he brings here in Detroit.
1st and 10 as Matt Stafford drops back to pass on 1st down, looks to the flat. It is complete underneath. Juke move and gets up to the 10-yard line as Stafford completes that one underneath to Montgomery. It's a 1st down. They're inside the red zone. Jay Vines in the chat saying Detroit needs to stop being cheap and go get a real running back. I'm pretty sure Detroit, hearing that one, will just hold up their season 28 Super Bowl trophy and go, we're good. They've got the champs. The Bombers a 6-time champion owner. They know what they're doing in Detroit as the handoff over the left side. Albury gets up to the 4-yard line. Give him 6 yards on the play. It's going to bring up a 2nd and goal.
Posluszny in there vacates his area. He kind of just abandoned his run fit, backed up 3 or 4 yards, and gave him a pretty good hole to run through.
2nd and goal for the Lions. Ball on the 4-yard line. 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end on the right side of that formation. Albury in at the top of that eye as Matt Stafford changed with the play, surveying this Seattle defense. Seattle would love to get a stop here inside the 5-yard line to be a big boost to their defense, who's been getting torn up early. Second and goal, it is a handoff once again. Lions can't find anything over that left side. Going to lose a yard on the play. Going to bring up a big 3rd and goal from the 5-yard line. This may be the one part of the game that Detroit does struggle with, and we've seen Detroit lose these games, Sonny. Weirdly enough, it seems like when Detroit gets inside the red zone, that's best case scenario because they're so good at scoring from 40 yards out. Once they get inside the 10-yard line, without that run game, it's tough to get in the end zone for this team.
We talked about that in pregame. That is kind of this offense's Achilles heel, is trying to get too close to the goal line is actually bad. They'd probably be better off taking a sack on first down, getting them 20 yards back, and then throwing the ball. Big down here for Seattle. Olivier Vernon, Muhammad Wilkerson, they need to come up big here.
2 tight ends on the right side of that formation. 1 wide receiver over to the left. P.J. Albury in at halfback. Lions didn't like something they saw. Call that timeout. Now, it's still 3rd and goal here. Sonny, I look at this. It's first quarter, minute 26 to go. Is it weird to say this may be like the turning point? This may be where we see this game either get out of hand or stay close. Stop here by Seattle could keep this game close enough.
Well, a stop by Seattle helps, but their offense has to prove they can do something. Now, they were big spenders in free agency. A.J. Green, Olivier Vernon, we kind of went through the list already. This is kind of crunch time as we get dueling timeouts here. Seattle now takes the timeout. This is a lot of fun to watch.
I think everybody here, if you're betting one of those prop bets, is how many timeouts would be called in the first half. You took the over. Congratulations, you won. Very exciting action here. 3rd and goal. Week 1 of NBL Live. Unbelievable. We're season 29 next season. The big 3-0. But we got a lot of great games. We'll throw up that NBL Live schedule at the end of the broadcast after we pick our player of the game. You guys can check that one out. Got a lot of great matchups coming up. Hit that subscribe button so you know when we go live. And follow us on Twitter at Bomber Leagues on 3rd and goal. It's going to be a handoff to P.J. Albury. Anybody who said the Lions should go and get a running back, P.J. Albury says they got one right here as he weaves his way up the middle. 5 yards out. Touchdown Lions. They get it on the ground. And P.J. Albury getting this Lions team into the end zone. 3 run plays from the 10. And they get 7, and they're up 14-0. The run game back alive in Motown.
You got to feel like ownership in Detroit was listening to the broadcast here and all the doubts about the running game. They said, you know what, call on down to the coaches. Tell them we're going to run the ball here.
Yeah, they were just looking to prove everyone wrong who says they don't have a running back as P.J. Albury gets his first NBL touchdown. An exciting moment for the young fella. Now, Sonny, I could be wrong. I don't think the Seattle Seahawks offense is in a real good place right now. It's just my guess. It's just my guess. After the fumble from Tyler Lockett and the 3 and out on the first drive, they need to get something going here offensively. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers for the Seahawks. Give me hand off to Thomas Rawls, who cuts it back up the middle. That was a real nice cut by Rawls. He gets to the 30-yard line, 4 yards on the play. That was a nice run by Thomas Rawls. We've seen the Lions so far really making a concerted effort to stop the outside run. So Rawls is going to have to pay attention to that and cut that back inside a little more.
Well, my question right now is, where is A.J. Green? You paying the guy 3 years, $27 million, and where you yet to see him show up?
Well, he's on the field. He's on the left side. They're going to toss it to Thomas Rawls once again as he makes a man miss. What a spin move by Rawls. First down and more as he gets up to the 48-yard line, and he is clutching his shoulder. So just bad to worse right now for the Seattle Seahawks. A real nice spin move. That one could go on the top 10 plays of the season as he made the Lions defender look silly, but he might have ripped his whole shoulder out of socket. He might not have been ready. He might not have been ready for that spin move or that hit at all.
Well, maybe we'll see A.J. Green now.
Who knows, as Paul into the game at halfback. 3 wide receivers out there for Russell Wilson. Darbo coming in motion from the right. Dropping back to pass on 1st and 10. Looks over to the left side. It is Darbo with the catch. Shakes off a 1 defender. Nice broken tackle and gets the first down at the 36-yard line. 12 yards on the play from the man out of Michigan, Amara Darbo. His first catch in the season.
That was a great play there by Darbo, who actually got blocked back into the field of play. It looked like he was going out of bounds short, but he ends up fighting for it and getting the first down. And this is a big drive right here for Seattle. If they want to stay in this game, they got to put 7 on the board.
Bubba Paul into the game at halfback. First of all, great name. The 3rd-round pick out of Liberty this year for the Seattle Seahawks. As it's a quick wide receiver screen. A.J. Green, his name got called, and A.J. Green, he Couldn't quite hang on to that with that big hit, and we're getting word that Thomas Rawls, they're saying it's a shoulder strain, a grade 1 strain. He'll be out for the game, probably out for a couple weeks. And that's a big loss for the Seahawks offense.
Yeah, great play there. I want to point out on that last play, the defender read that great, didn't get sucked into the blocker, makes a play. I thought he may have pick six that.
2nd and 10 for the Seahawks. Ball on the 36-yard line. Play action pass. Russell Wilson dropping back to pass. Blitz coming up the middle. Rush coming up the middle.
Please.
Wilson puts it on the ground. It's picked up. There's a lot of green space. He's tired, but he's still rumbling. Touchdown, Lions. Sonny Weaver, what'd you have for dinner tonight?
I actually had some chili. It was really good. Wife made it yesterday, and chili is always great reheated.
Not to be confused with Chili's, the restaurant. That's really never good reheated or good, period.
Yeah, not so much.
Well, 21-0 your score right now. Detroit on top. The Seattle ownership probably regretting putting this game on NBL Live, requesting this one. And Sonny, I don't know if you noticed, we're not out of the first quarter.
Yeah, well, I did say 41-20, so I'm hoping those 20 points come maybe in garbage time.
Garbage time touchdowns
or
as
not.
it's taken up the middle, but he's got a lot of room on the right side. He's at the 50. He's at the 40. He has one man to beat. Can't get past him, but a big return up to the 28-yard line, and it looks like the Seahawks are having a tough game.
That is always embarrassing to get.
It's never good. You never want to see that. The old tough game message from Madden. That's about as insulting as it gets, isn't it, Sonny? I mean, I know you've never seen that, but
Exactly. No, it hurts. It hurts deep down in your soul.
well, good field position here for the Seattle Seahawks. They're on the 28-yard line after the big special teams play. 3 wide receivers over to the left. Jimmy Graham alone on the right side, and Paul into the game at halfback, 3rd-round pick out of Liberty. In for the injured Thomas Rawls, who went out on, on one of his first carries. I think it was 3rd carry of the game. It's on 1st and 10. Wilson rolling out to the left side, trying to get around the edge. Can he get there? Nope, he's going to break that tackle out of bounds. Unfortunately, it's a 3-yard loss on the play. Nice job by the Lions. Coverage downfield so far from Detroit has been stellar, keeping the Seattle wide receivers in check.
Well, I'm not sure they were in check. I think Russell Wilson just missed it. He had the guy open in the flat. He had the guy, A.J. Green, sits down on an option route. Early on in that play. In Wilson, I don't know what he was really looking at downfield.
2nd and 13 for the Seattle Seahawks. Wilson in the shotgun with Bubba Paul to his left. Draw play for Paul, trying to find some room. And there were 2 options. He could go through the left hole or the right hole. He picked the left one. That one was the wrong choice, as Gianni Slade, who struggled with injuries last year, but is still a beast on the defensive line, able to bring him down for no gain.
Gianni Slade eats up 2 holes in the middle of that defense and really nowhere to go. A lot of struggles here for Seattle. Got to come away with points here. I'm not even sure 3 matters. I think it's got to be 7 or bust here.
We all know that Gianni Slade's favorite kind of hole is a donut hole, obviously, but he is a big man in the middle of that defense, and he is going to help this Lions team stop the run if he can stay healthy. 3rd and 13. Wilson dropping back to pass. Looks over to the right side, has a man open. It's Jimmy Graham trying to find some room over there. Can't get to the first down, though. He'll be taken down to the 19-yard line. 1 yard short, and Seattle's going to be forced to kick a field goal. You're right. The field goal, it's not as important. You really needed a touchdown out of this drive, and you think about it, what happened was Seattle got a great return on the opening kick to the 28-yard line, and then ended up only moving it 9 yards down the field and kicking a field goal. So another disappointing drive for this offense.
Yeah, and I know every time I need 13 yards, I run a 3-yard route. That is definitely good game planning there.
That's some stellar route running. Is the other problem for the Seattle Seahawks? Sonny, are you aware? Do the Detroit Lions know how to take their foot off of the gas? Because I've never seen it.
I believe there are some rules in place that will force them to take their foot off the gas at some point at the rate this is going.
Yeah, at some point we may be looking at some third string. I think they're going to be drawing names for fans to come in and play quarterback if it keeps going this way. 21-3, Detroit on top and with the ball and in firm control. Matt Stafford, he is under center. He's got 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. Handoff right up the middle for P.J. Albury as he gets to the 26-yard line, maybe a yard on the play. Going to bring up a 2nd and 9. If you were hoping to see P.J. Albury run the ball, this could not be a better situation because I think he's going to get more carries than he would have seen in a closer game.
Oh, yeah. P.J. Albury is about to be a star today, folks. You're going to see a whole lot of that, man.
Tyler Porter in the chat saying, you see that fat lady? I do. I don't think she's singing yet, but she is certainly doing her vocal exercises and just off stage. Not quite singing, though. As 2nd and 9, Stafford drops back to pass and puts the ball on the ground. That's why she's not singing. Just as you mentioned, this game is over. A big hit by the big hitting Seahawks defense as Stafford puts it on the ground. It's picked up by Cam Chancellor, and the Seahawks inept offense, they get a gift as they only have to go 20 yards to hit the end zone.
Yeah, it was about time that defense had to force something. Cam Chancellor flying in around the edge with the big hit. I thought Stafford was going to stay down. He did stumble out. Now they got to convert this into some points.
1st and 10, Darboh coming in motion from the right over to the left. Play action pass for Russell Wilson. He looks over to the left side. He finds Darboh on the wheel route, trying to stay in bounds. He'll go down to the 3-yard line. It's a 1st down for the Seahawks. Sonny, you know, the PAFK quick, very common play here in the NBL. A lot of teams love to run that play. I know the first look was the wheel route, but if you looked, the tight ends, Jimmy Graham was streaking open over the middle of the field and was in the end zone.
Yeah, and a lot of times you overthink that a little bit, and you look in the inside, but those seam routes really work. Now, my question here is, how big would Thomas Rawls be?
Well, it sounds like Thomas Rawls. It's Bubba Paul. He only doesn't get anything. Seahawks, you know they'd love to ground and pound it here with Thomas Rawls. They don't have him, though. If you're the Seahawks, you don't have Rawls. What sort of creativity are you going to use inside the red zone?
Well, you've got Russell Wilson, so maybe you drop him back, and if nothing's open, you take off with him.
Yeah, 2nd and goal, pistol formation for Wilson. 2 wide receivers. As it looks like they're set up a little screen to Paul over the right side. The blocking is there, and Paul's going to walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Seahawks. A pair of rookie running backs get their first touchdowns on the season. Bubba Paul out of Liberty, the 3rd-round pick. A receiving touchdown off the fumble by Matt Stafford. If you thought the fat lady was singing, now she's just warming up, got to be ready, but it's an 11-point ball game as a splash play from the defense helps set up the offense with a score.
And so Seattle now getting back into this one. Now this is a big drive coming up for Matthew Stafford. Look for Harvey Beckham to be the kind of the brunt of the offense coming up. He's going to go to his main guy. If I'm Seattle right now, I'm covering Harvey Beckham. I'm doubling him. I'm finding ways to disrupt him, even if I got to press him off the line. I know it's a scary thought, but you've got to slow down Harvey Beckham here because Matthew Stafford's going to look for his kind of his blankie here, his comfort zone.
Yeah, you know, coming off the fumble, they're going to be looking for some quick routes underneath. Let's see if the Seahawks can take advantage of that and bring some pressure. As the one time they're able to get to Matt Stafford, they do force the fumble. 1st and 10 for the Detroit Lions. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. Beckham over to the left, Tate over to the right. Albury into the game at halfback. As Stafford surveying this defense, it's a play action pass for Stafford. He rolls out to the right side. Looking. He's got all the time in the world. Here comes the pressure. He looks deep down the field, and that one's incomplete. He was looking for Harvey Beckham. Stafford, he hasn't looked great early in this game. That's the 2nd throw that wasn't particularly close. Maybe a point of concern if you're a Lions fan?
Well, it was only a 3-man route, so they had limited options there. He tried to, I guess, redirect Beckham after he ran his route, trying to tell him to keep running, and there was just some miscommunication.
2nd and 10 for the Lions. As Matt Stafford under center once again. Albury in at halfback. 1 tight end on the right side of the formation. 3 wide receivers out there, though. Stafford dropping back to pass. Looking. Looks over the middle of the field. Oh, dangerous throw. Almost intercepted. That would have been huge. Thompson diving in the way of that pass. Now a 3rd and goal. If the Seattle defensive line could just get any sort of pressure, this would be a different ball game. But Matt Stafford, 3 of 7 to start this game. Uncharacteristically wild.
Well, where's that expensive defensive line? Olivier Vernon, Malik McDowell, Muhammad Wilkerson, Frank Clark. Where is this line? You're not getting the pressure. Cam Chancellor had to come down and bring the pressure last time. Somebody has to step up right here and get to Matthew Stafford.
2 wide receivers as Matt Stafford's in the pistol. Play action pass. He's looking to throw. Looking, rolling out to the right side, trying to find anyone. The pressure is coming, but he gets rid of it and finds Harvey Beckham downfield. It's a 1st down at the 43-yard line. The blankie comes into play as HB18 makes his first catch of the day, and it goes for 37 yards.
And what you had there was just a breakdown. Cam Chancellor tries to come down, lay the big hit, and just misses on that. And at some point, you got to get your head up and see what you're hitting.
Well, and again, we're back to how much time did Matt Stafford have in the pocket there? 6, 7, 8 seconds, rolled out, had all the time in the world. The Seahawks are not getting any pressure up front. And the biggest key to stopping this attack, you can't let the receivers come all the way from the left side over to the right side. You give him too much time, he's eventually going to find somebody who's going to hurt you bad. 1st and 10. Matt Stafford under center, 2 wide receivers over to the left, 1 over to the right, 1 tight end on the right side of that formation. As now he's changing up the play, putting Beckham over on the right side. He's going to use the second timeout of the first half. His Lions all confused there on the line. One of the biggest crimes, you talk about, pressure, how important it is to get to Matt Stafford. There are many quarterbacks in this league that you may be able to give 4 or 5 seconds and get away with it. Matt Stafford is not one of those quarterbacks.
No, not at all. And it's very surprising because I thought this line was going to generate a lot more pass rush than what we've seen.
Daniel Rice in the chat, is the Lions O-line great or Seattle's D-line suck? There's a lot of talent on Seattle's D-line. Matt Stafford dropping back to pass here on 1st and 10. Looks over to the left side. Wide open, man coverage. Beckham makes a man miss. Beckham makes 2 man miss. Harvey Beckham putting on a show. Touchdown, Lions. Missed tackles into the end zone. HP18 showing why he's one of the best young wide receivers in the league.
Yeah, impressive run after the catch there by Harvey Beckham. Little not what we're used to from seeing Seattle. Defense not tackling, defense not getting pressure. We're talking about a Seattle team who's led the league or been near the top in the last 3 seasons in sacks, and they're not even sniffing Matthew Stafford right now.
They're not even in the same stadium. I mean, they're not even close. It's 28-10. The Lions now back on top. Seattle's going to have 2:19 to go, and they need a touchdown bad to end this half. As their defense has, there's been some mistakes offensively. The 2 turnovers are, of course, big, as shaking off 1 tackler, shaking off another tackler, and he's going to get 2 yards past where he would have gotten if he just took a knee. So a lot of work for not a whole lot of return. But at the end of the day, Sonny, I have been colossally disappointed by the Seattle Seahawks defense, and this may be a little indication of what we can expect from the Seahawks team, which has a lot of big names defensively, but they're getting up in age, and I think a lot of people have figured out this defense.
Well, like you said, they're getting up there in age. Richard Sherman's not what he once was. Shaquille Griffin, their number 2 cornerback, is good. He's not great. So that lockdown secondary they used to have is no longer there. And I think that's really exposing this defensive line.
Yeah, 1st and 10 now for Russell Wilson. 2 wide receivers over to the left side. Play clock down under 5 as Wilson making a lot of adjustments at the line. 1st and 10, play action pass. Wilson, oh man, he's trying to find it all on the left side. He's got Green out there, can't get to the ball. A little bit overthrown by Wilson. Sonny, if you're a Seahawks fan, you see that, and maybe if you're very, simplistic, you go, well, that was a great play. Let me try to find A.J. Green make a play. I see that one, and I cringe, because that looked like Russell Wilson trying to get too much back in one bite.
Well, that was just throwing up a prayer. There was no read there. It was A.J. Green from the start into double coverage, and just not a play I'm real excited about seeing. 2nd
and 10 for the Seahawks. 3 wide receivers over to the right side, 1 tight end on the left. That's Jimmy Graham. As this is going to be a handoff to Bubba Paul up the middle. There was a free rusher right there, and he met Bubba Paul right at the 26-yard line. Loss of 1 on the play. As we've hit the 2-minute warning, and if you're a Seahawks fan, you might want to try to find your rerun of your latest medical drama, because this one could get ugly in the second half. This offense hasn't looked good. The defense hasn't looked good. The only thing that's looked good has been the kickoff return team.
Well, speaking of that, did you hear Hulu is now going to play all 300 episodes of ER on there?
I saw it was on there. I did see it. I was on there. I was watching some stuff on the Hulu, which, by the way, shout out to Hulu. They were garbage for a while, and then they decided to stay in their lane and not make original programming, and good for them. Good job. Also, commercial-free. I always thought it was silly that Hulu Plus was not a commercial-free thing initially. As Lockett spins off of 1 tackle, he's got the first down and more up to the 42-yard line. Missed tackle sort of been the... I don't want to say it's the theme of the game, but we've seen it on both sides of the ball. It's hurt Seattle a little more, but right there, Tyler Lockett able to get a little more.
Yeah, and actually the cornerback read that great once again. He tackled him behind the line, but he couldn't bring him down, so instead Lockett picks up the first down.
1st and 10 for the Seahawks as Russell Wilson drops back to pass. Looks underneath. It's complete to Tyler Lockett. He clearly went for the hurdle there and got about as much off the ground as I do when I see a cockroach.
Yeah, that he kind of just caught his shoulder in air and flipped down. It was not good. Not good.
Not the most graceful play we've ever seen here on NBL Live.
But they're moving. They're moving.
They are. They're past midfield. Minute 20 to go in the first half. Russell Wilson back in the shotgun formation. 2 wide receivers to each side. It's going to be Wilson dropping back to pass on 1st and 10. Looks over to the left side. It is A.J. Green who finally comes up with a catch. The big signing for the Seahawks. He gets him into the red zone as they're on the 19-yard line. And Russell Wilson using his arm to try to keep the Seahawks in this game.
And, yeah, we're seeing some offense here to close out the quarter now. Or, excuse me, the half. Seattle with just under a minute left here needs to put up a touchdown. Then maybe, just maybe, they can make it a game in the second half.
1st and 10. 3 wide receivers out there. 2 over to the left, 1 over to the right. Bubba Paul in at halfback. Russell Wilson dropping back on 1st and 10. Looking. He's got a lot of room. He is going to run. Makes a man miss and takes a big hit at the 4-yard line. Sonny, you were yelling, get down. Wilson took the hit. While you appreciate the bravado, that is your big man. That is the guy you're paying the big bucks. You don't like seeing him take hits like that.
Well, you don't like them seeing them taking hits, but the risk of fumble is so big there. You've got to score a touchdown here to stay in this game, and you're out there running around with your quarterback.
1st and goal. Bunch formation, 3 over to the left side. 1 over to the right now, putting 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, 20 seconds and counting. As Russell Wilson changing up the play, using a lot of time. Green coming in motion. They're going to hand it to him on the jet sweep. And he can't get to the edge. It's going to bring him down at the 5-yard line. Bring up a 2nd and goal. Look, I love A.J. Green. I think he's a very good player. Not the guy I'd be running a jet sweep with.
No, that's not the 32-year-old A.J. Green's play to run there. In fact, actually, the defense was shaded to that direction. I think Amara Darbo is the guy you got to run that play with. So, not good play calling there by Seattle.
Yeah, 2nd and goal now for the Seahawks. Ball on the 5-yard line. 12 seconds to go. Seattle has 1 timeout. 2 wide receivers to each side. Bubba Paul on the left as he splits out Jimmy Graham wide to the right. Bubba Paul to the left of Russell Wilson in the shotgun as he surveys this Lions defense. He'll take the snap here on 2nd and goal. Looking. He's got a lot of time. Looks to the back of the end zone. Well, I will say this. Wilson put that in only one place. The defense could not intercept that ball. Unfortunately, his own receiver couldn't get the ball either. Now a huge 3rd and goal for the Seattle offense.
Well, they create a levels concept there, and you had Green coming underneath in front of the linebacker. Linebackers dropped back deep to the back of the end zone. If they would have thrown to Green on the drag route, it would have been a touchdown. Instead, they got locked into that back receiver.
Well, interesting. Yes, I would like to proceed. Apparently, the security certificate of YouTube has not been verified. Interesting. 3rd and goal for the Seattle Seahawks. Looking back at the end zone, they went for it again. It wasn't there. So what do you think of that play calling inside the 5-yard line?
Well, it was rough, and he's lucky he came away not running out of time there on that play. 2 seconds left to get this field goal up and good.
Yeah, they're going to have to get the points that they can. The kick is up. It is good. 28-13, a 2-score game at the half. Sonny, if you are watching the first half, I think if you're a Seattle Seahawks fan, even though you are kicking the ball off to the Detroit Lions, you've got to feel real fortunate you're only down 2 scores.
Well, it could have been worse. I think that's going to be the motto of the Seattle Seahawks going into halftime. Now, if I'm in half, I'm telling the defensive line, you've got to get pressure. If you're Seattle right now, maybe you have to start dialing up some man blitzes or some zone blitzes or something. Cam Chancellor got home on a little rolling blitz. You got to find some way to get to Matthew Stafford because right now sitting back in zone or man coverage is not working.
It's not working. That defensive line, there's a lot of money on the D-line. There's a lot of talent on the D-line. They're just not showing up right now. I know we were just about to talk about before one of the touchdowns. Is the Seattle D-line good or is the Seattle D-line suck or is the Lions O-line good? I think it's just the Seattle D-line is not playing up to their level as this pass over the middle. It's complete to Montgomery. Makes one man miss. Can't make the second man miss, but it's a 21-yard gain up to the 46-yard line. Sonny, do you disagree? This Detroit Lions offensive line, it's good. I wouldn't consider it a great O-line, but it's a good O-line. It's a season 28 Super Bowl champion O-line, but I just think the Seattle Seahawks defensive line has played really bad early in this game.
Yeah, I agree. They have played really bad. I think the Detroit Lions line is probably still on the better side of the league as far as quality starters. Taylor Decker, one of the better left tackles in the league. So they've got some good players there. But, yeah, this defensive line is just not playing well tonight.
Handoff over the right side of P.J. Allberry as he shakes off one tackler. He is a first down, and he's up to the 38-yard line. 6 carries for 29 yards for P.J. Allberry. They brought him in for that big muscle, the Marshawn Lynch-style bruising running back. They put him outside. He's still able to show off that power.
And it does look like a clone. It looks like Marshawn Lynch or LeGarrette Blount out there running. Same body type, same hairstyle. It's tough to tell that it's not one of those guys. Maybe a younger version of those guys here. Kind of exciting development here in Detroit.
Yeah, 28-13 your score as it's going to be a false start on the right side. Nope, they're going to call it Malik McDowell for jumping early. So give him 5 yards. If there was one word to describe the Seattle Seahawks defense early in this game, Sonny, I don't think discipline would be the word. We've seen a lot of missed tackles, and now a penalty that gives Detroit more yardage.
Yeah, I've been throwing this word out a lot tonight. Inept.
Yeah, that has been the Sonny Weaver word of the day, folks. So on 1st and 5, it's a handoff to P.J. Allberry right up the middle. He gets near the first down marker. Going to go down probably a yard short, bring up a 2nd and 1. And again, folks, while we have a moment here in the third quarter, I want to give a big shout out to our graphic sponsor, web3ks.com. They do a ton of graphics for all of our network shows, and they're super easy to work with. A big shout out to all business over at web3ks.com. If you or anyone you know needs graphics done for an affordable price, hit up web3ks.com. They are the leaders in affordable graphic design. We appreciate all of you tuning into NBL Live. This is week 1 action kicking off NBL Live. We'll show you that NBL Live schedule once again after this game, as well as have our selection for the NBL Live player of the game. 2nd and 1. 2 tight ends on the right side of that formation for the Lions, and it's going to be a handoff to P.J. Allberry right up the middle as he squeezes through the tackle. Takes a big hit, but holds on to the ball. Allberry has shown early in this game not only an ability to be a little agile, but his ability to take the big hit.
He holds on to the ball there. That was a clock cleaner right there. Surprised Allberry's going to stay in the game after that one. Detroit finding a semblance of a running game is a scary thought.
Yeah, just when you think it couldn't get worse, now you got a run game that may open up the offense. On 1st and 10, it's going to be handoff to Allberry over the left side. He gets caught from behind. I didn't see who was down there. I hope it's not P.J. Allberry because I feel like at that point we've just cursed him.
Yeah, that
awkward.
That looked like it was P.J. Allberry, so we're going to have to find out. But, man, easy come, easy go, right?
You never know how long you'll have any of the players in this cycle, folks. Just when you think you've got a star, that's when the old abdominal tear shows up and you lose them for 7 weeks. 2nd and 10, shotgun formation for Matt Stafford. 3 wide receivers out there as P.J. Allberry not in the game. They're setting up a screen to the left side. It's complete. 1 tackle broken. 1 juke move. That's a late hit, but no flag. It's complete, and it's a 7-yard gain. 3rd and 3 now for the Lions as Corey Cox into the game. He gets his first catch in the NBL.
Yeah, the old halfback cross screen. Another staple of this Detroit offense. They like that formation. So when you see that, you got to watch the backside screen.
Now, 3rd and 3, shotgun formation, bunch over to the right. It's going to be handoff to Cox right up the middle, and I believe he has the first down at the 17. Oh, excuse me, that was Wilson with the carry. Oh. No, the tackle. Wow. I'm sorry, that's a bad spot. Am I wrong?
Stop or bad spot? What are we going with?
I'm going to go with spot. I'm going with bad spot, but Seattle catches a little bit of a break, forces Detroit to kick a field goal, 31-13, as we find out P.J. Allberry, lower back strain, so he should be fine next week, but he's having quite a week 1 game. Tough to see it end with an injury.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not a huge deal. Obviously, Detroit's got this one pretty much locked up. I think Allberry would have gotten some carries, but you could have seen him even pull him late in this blowout. So my 41-20 predictions looking pretty good right now.
It's still definitely possible. It's another nice return here. If he just stays upfield, he might got a little more. He tried to kick that outside a little bit, but good field position at the 33-yard line. If you are a Seahawks fan and you were hoping for an offensive renaissance, this game hasn't improved a whole lot. Even with the addition of A.J. Green, it still seems sort of slow and plodding. And with Thomas Rawls out, this offense has sort of been slowed down considerably, save for a few good field positions. This throw over the middle, it's complete to Tyler Lockett. Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, seems like they've got the chemistry down.
You know, I gotta wonder. Was AJ Green your answer to the inept offense? I mean, what did Seattle think was going to happen? How were they going to create more offense? bringing in an over-the-hill, washed-up A.J. Green does not seem like the way to do that.
First and 10 now for the Seahawks. They're just shy of midfield at the 49-yard line. 3 wide receivers out there. 2 over to the right, 1 to the left, and Jimmy Graham on the right side. Play action pass. Blitz is picked up. Looks over the middle. It's complete to Amara Darboh. There's a flag on the play. Let's see what that is. And this one's going to be coming back. It's a hold on the left side. So that blitz was picked up, just picked up colossally illegally. Instead of a nice play downfield, now it's a first and long.
Yeah, sometimes you win by doing illegal things. You know, I wouldn't be bragging about that.
Nah, crime never pays, folks. Stay in school. First 20. 3 wide receivers over to the right side. Jimmy Graham alone on the left side. Paul into the game on first down. It's a play action pass for Russell Wilson. Looking, and that was a pass. Certainly was a throw that I have made when I broke my arms back in the 8th grade. I think that was the throw I made.
Well, can we talk about that $150 million throw right there?
Dude, pay me $150 million. I'll come on in and I will make that throw all day long. Sign me up, coach. I got nothing. I got nothing, folks. Now second and 20.
That one hurt.
Yeah, that one wasn't pretty. As that defense was set up perfectly for that play, it just Russell Wilson showing he's worth that $150 million. Second and 20. Bubba Paul to the left of Russell Wilson. He'll get the carry on second and long. Another flag on the play as Paul's going to get a couple up past the 45, and it's another hold for this defense. See what the Lions decided to do. Yep, they accept it. Let's make it a 2nd and 30. The discipline wasn't there on defense, not there on offense, and now Seattle's going to have to convert what some would call a long second down.
There's not many plays in the playbook for 2nd and 30. You know, if I'm the Seahawks, I maybe try to send my guys downfield and see what happens downfield. And
well, if there's a reason you brought in A.J. Green, I mean, throw it up to the big fella. Let's see what happens. 2nd and 30. Gotta love when you gotta call that one out. As Russell Wilson pump fake, looking, waiting, rolling. There's well, when you roll away from your new number 1 wide receiver, I don't know what you thought was gonna happen. But Wilson, if you are the Detroit Lions, just show up the right side because Wilson has shown no propensity to roll left.
There really wasn't pressure. He had a clean pocket, but he just wanted to run. I mean, the pocket formed. Had he stepped up, he probably had another 3 or 4 seconds in that pocket.
Hey, now a 3rd and 30. Let's see what the Seahawks whip out for this particular dilemma. As it's going to be Russell Wilson dropping back. He's looking for the screen over to Paul. Paul trying to break the tackle. He does, right out of bounds for no gain on the play. And Seahawks, nope, they lost a yard. So 4th and 31. Not as bad as that, what was it? It was it was like a 2nd and goal from their own 5-yard line in that college game we saw earlier in this year.
Yeah.
It was essentially a 2nd and 95. That was tough.
Stop and go.
As nice return to the outside for the Lions. 31-13 your score. Lions back on offense. Well, we got time. Might as well talk about it, Sonny. Do you like the Seattle Seahawks to repeat as NFC West champions? Pulling out at 7-9 last year, or you sticking with your 49ers?
This is the year of the 49ers. I truly believe it. They got their quarterback. They got their wide receivers. We will have to see how this goes, but I like the 49ers out there in the West this year.
1st and 10 for the Lions. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers for Matt Stafford. As it looks like Wilson into the game at halfback on the 33-yard line. Play action pass for Matt Stafford as he's looking, and down goes Stafford. There's a sack for the Seattle Seahawks defense. Frank Clark finally gets some pressure. 2 routes there for the Lions, but what do they care? They're up big in this game. Seahawks can feel good about that sack all they want, but they got to find a way to put points on the board.
Yeah, apparently when you limit Stafford's options to just 2, you do have a chance to get sacked. So congratulations.
Yeah, only 2 routes on the play. They had 2 deep safeties. The 2 linebackers probably were then covering. I mean, it was not a good play call from the Lions, but what the hell? Take a shot. 2nd and 21 now for the Detroit Lions. Ball on the 22-yard line. It's Matt Stafford under center. 2 wide receivers. Beckham to the right. Montgomery over to the left. And on 2nd down, it's a play-action pass. Once again, Stafford looking to throw. And down goes Matt Stafford. Another sack for the Seattle Seahawks as Sanu gets into the backfield. Now a 3rd and 34. And so far, folks, we have seen quite some 3rd and longs. We have seen some 3rd and longs in Detroit. They saw Seattle's 3rd and 30 and went, anything you can do, I can do better. We can be just as bad.
This 3rd and 34. Now, if they convert this,
I think Seattle.
Seattle.
I think Seattle just has to leave the league at that point, right?
Maybe
they just got to join the Pac-12.
Yeah, they play offense in the Pac-12.
Ooh, that's no good. That's no good. They're gonna have to join the WAC. 3rd and 34. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers from Matt Stafford. Just hand this one off. He's got some room on the left side, but a nice tackle made from behind. Corey Cox trying to find something. 5 yards on the play. It's going to be a 4th and 29, so Detroit's going to punt this one away. And, folks, while this may have looked like a great matchup on paper, because champion versus champion, we got a lot of great teams in the NBL, the defending Super Bowl champions, the season 26 Super Bowl champions. I think what this game has proved is that while you may have a Super Bowl, and it may have been in season 26, 3 seasons ago was a long time, and this Seahawks team is not the same as they were when they won the title.
Yeah, that team got old quick. And, you know, one of my questions here for Seattle, you're down there, you've got them pinned in their own, kind of the shadow of their own goalpost. Why not send some pressure there, see if you can block something? Special teams has been about the only positive on this team so far today.
1st and 10, play action pass for Russell Wilson, rolling to the right side, looking, throws it over to A.J. Green, who makes a magical catch and gets down to the 48-yard line. He's still got some wheels as he zoomed that football and brought it down as we've hit the 4th quarter. The Seahawks trying to keep their hopes alive for a win in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, A.J. Green, still alive. Still alive
and on the team. As 1st and 10 for the Seahawks. They're just past midfield at the 48-yard line. Shotgun formation, nobody in the backfield. Paul goes down on the left side of that formation. 1st and 10, Wilson. That is not Matthew Stafford back there. That's Russell Wilson. He's going to find Tyler Lockett once again. I'm interested to see this stat. He has 12 completions. How many of those were to Tyler Lockett? 5. 5 for 75 yards. Safe to say that Tyler Lockett is the #1 receiver, even though they gave A.J. Green some #1 receiver money.
Yeah, the A.J. Green sign just looks worse and worse the longer this game goes on. Obviously, he's had 2 catches this game that were decent catches, but he's not the focal point of this offense.
2nd and 4 for the Seattle Seahawks. Shotgun formation for Russell Wilson as he drops back to pass. And he looks over to the left side and makes one of those Matt Stafford throws. Throws that one. He had the man. It was a good read, but yeah, that one's incomplete. Bring up a 3rd down.
He's had a couple of those throws today where he's putting them in the dirt, and I'm not sure what's going on here with our good friend Russell Wilson. Friend of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show. Big friend of the show. Loves when we talk about his $150 million contract. Just loves it. We're going to have to talk, though, about Andrew Luck and his $165 million contract in Baltimore. So we'll see which contract was more worth it. It's now 3rd and 4. Shotgun formation for Russell Wilson. Bunch formation. 3 over to the right, 1 over to the left. 4 wide receivers out there for Wilson. As he looks underneath, it's complete to Paul. I think he had to come back over the line, and that's going to be a 4th and 1. Yep. Indeed. But you got to go for it because, to put it in layman's terms, you're down a whole buttload.
I believe that was the scientific term for it.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
It is a unit of measurement, buttload.
Buttload, yeah. I think it's in the metric system. It's like leader, court, buttload. It's up there. As now 4th and 1 for the Seattle Seahawks. As shotgun formation for Wilson. Bunch formation, 3 to the right, 1 over to the left. To add is A.J. Green. Bubba Paul in at halfback to the left of Russell Wilson. As Wilson changing up the play here on 4th down. Looks over to the left side and throws that one 3 yards into the sidelines. It's a turnover on downs. Here's the thing. They lost Thomas Rawls early, Sonny. But does it look like Thomas Rawls would have helped this at all? The defense has been the big problem. I don't think they'd be running the ball a whole lot, even if they had Thomas Rawls.
Yeah, you're out of running the ball territory here. And Russell Wilson, we talked about in the pregame, expecting this guy to throw you out of a hole is not looking good because, frankly, he couldn't hit the wall of the hole if he was buried 10 feet deep.
1st and 10 for the Detroit Lions. I formation for Matt Stafford under center. 2 wide receivers out there as he's going to bring Montgomery in motion. It's going to be a handoff on 1st down. There's a lot of room on the left side. He makes the man miss. He's up at the 40. He's to the 30. He's to the 20. 1 man to beat. You're not catching him. Touchdown, Lions. You knew the Lions were running the ball. It just didn't matter. They found a way to get their second rushing touchdown of the game. That's right. The Lions, 2 rushing touchdowns. I never thought I'd say those words.
That was just a nifty run there. I was impressed with the back juke and then outrunning Cam Chancellor. That was sweet.
Well, see any good movies recently, Sonny?
Not really. I haven't been out to watch a lot of movies.
Really?
Lately.
I saw a ton of movies in the last couple weeks.
What'd you see?
Let's see. We saw All the Money in the World.
Okay.
Which was okay. I wanted to like it more than I did, but I didn't. We saw The Greatest Showman, which was really good.
Okay.
I'm a fan of musicals, so it was real good. I thought it was fantastic.
I did lie. I saw Jumanji.
I thought Jumanji was really good, actually. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. Did you see the little Easter egg in there when they were at that place? The guy's name?
Oh, yeah. I had to
that
think
was a
about
nice
the
little
place
throwback
was.
to the original.
I enjoyed it. I did. No, I thought Jumanji was I thought Jack Black was by far going to annoy the hell out of me, and I thought that was the perfect role for Jack Black, and he was actually really good.
Yeah,
I'm not a Jack Black fan.
I will give Jumanji out of 4. I will give it a 2.5 shiny bald heads.
I would give it I would give it 3 screaming OSUs out of 4. I think it's Paul, a nice run. He gets up the first down. It's really the first nice run for Paul. Yeah, I would give it 3 out of 4. I thought it was an enjoyable movie. Yeah, so we saw Jumanji. Of course, saw Star Wars. Were you a fan of Star Wars?
The new round of it, I haven't really gotten into. It's a little upsetting. I thought I would enjoy it more.
I won't spoil anything, even though Star Wars has been out for 4 weeks. So if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? But my opinion of these last movies is I just have no idea why they're making them. I know why they're making them, money, but it's added nothing. I just think they're lazy. That's just my opinion, though. If you love it, good for you. But I just think I think they have done a great job of making me care about the old characters they're bringing back, but I don't care about the new characters at all.
So I was watching TV the other night, and I was watching the older movie, Ender's Game. Good movie. Good movie. Never seen it before.
Yeah, it's a real good one. We saw. I'm trying to think. We've seen a couple. We've seen a lot of movies. That was sort of when my wife had time off for school, as Russell Wilson gets absolutely obliterated up the middle. That was a free rusher. You never like to see that when you're a quarterback. We saw a lot of movies because she's a teacher, so she had 2 weeks off. So we spent our time. We saw just about everything in theater. And The Disaster Artist, which The Room is one of my favorite movies ever because it's so bad. That movie was great, even though James Franco is just the creepiest dude in the world. But it was real. It was so funny. But you sort of have to like The Room to like that movie.
Well, speaking of James Franco, you ever watch The Deuce on HBO?
Yeah, I have.
I kind of enjoy that show. It's interesting. So if we're talking about James Franco, good little production there for him.
AJ Green with a catch deep down the middle of the field at the 41-yard line. Green's had a couple catches here in the second half. 3 catches, 473 yards. Injury on the play. Don't know who that was. Play saying they're going to make Finn and Poe lovers in the next Star Wars. Oh, that'd be funny. I just think I haven't seen Rogue One. That was the one I didn't see yet. I just think that
I fell asleep during Rogue One.
That's not a good review. It's not a good. You want to know what movie I fell asleep? The only movie I've ever fallen asleep during that wasn't at my house. So we were out in public, as that throw over to the left side is complete to AJ Green, who's trying to show that he's worth the #1 wide receiver money. The only movie I've ever fallen asleep from in public was The Adjustment Bureau with Matt Damon. So bored.
Can't say I've ever seen it.
It was not good. I fell asleep during it. They all been bad except Rogue One. I heard Rogue One was good. Just the 2 that they've made, episode 7 and 8, I just think they're lazy. I just think they're just what if we just brought back all the old characters but didn't have to write interesting plots or anything? I just think they just suck. But I enjoyed them enough as Russell Wilson tried to overthrow AJ Green as he gets into the end zone. He really tried to overthrow AJ Green and just was okay. Timeout. Did you see who got injured there?
Gronkowski?
It looked like Gronkowski, but it was like Barnkowski. As they're just going to pull him out of the game and make sure that they don't get any injuries on the offensive line. Yeah, I just don't care.
Hey, shout out to Daniel Rice, who said Rough One was great. Now, I'm not sure what Rough One was. I feel like that was an X-rated film that I didn't quite watch, but I'm sure it was more entertaining than Rogue One.
I fell asleep to that Scarlett Johansson movie where she was the Japanese assassin cyborg. I've never fallen asleep to any Scarlett Johansson movie ever.
Huh. Hey, speaking of
I haven't seen a lot of them, but I haven't fallen asleep during them.
Weird kind of movies. Did you watch Hateful Eight?
I did not.
Go watch it on Netflix. Kind of a long movie, but surprisingly good. Samuel L. Jackson.
We did go see Pitch Perfect 3. We did go see that.
Oh my!
I have a wife. We saw Pitch Perfect 3.
Oh, don't lie. Don't lie.
No, you didn't let me finish my sentence. I have a wife, and I forced her to go see Pitch Perfect 3.
There you go. Now we got it.
I love Anna Kendrick with all my heart. And other places. Right? There's still 2:30 left. This game's still going, folks. But yeah, stick with us. We'll have our player of the game selection. We paid attention during most of this, but this one, no. This one.
41-20. I called it before the game. Let's go field goal bomber. Come on.
with that. Oh, boy. Handoff over the left side. The Seahawks defense trying just to not prove Sonny 100% wrong. Or 100% right. They just want to make sure he's wrong. As Sanu with the tackle. Any relation to Muhammad Sanu? Anybody? You know?
No, we got nothing. Dead air. Dead air.
Dead air. Dead air. Nothing. Hey, by the way, just got an interesting... just an interesting tidbit, an interesting bit of news. The Jacksonville Jaguars lost to the Cincinnati Bengals today.
Oh, well, that's embarrassing.
That's a big win for the Bengals. They
don't get many of them.
What, they had one last year? Already matched their win total.
Yeah, something like that.
I believe they went 1-15 last year, so they already matched their win total. So shout out to the Cincinnati Bengals. That's a nice win for them. Apparently, Daniel Shirley was not very good. That's all I've heard. Sonny Weaver, not surprised by that at all.
Not at all.
Chiefs lost in overtime to the Chargers. Oh, Friday had 2 wins. So two wins for half your wins week 1. Expectations are low. That's a big win though for the Bengals, and a big shout out to the Bengals for that win. Chiefs lost in overtime to the Chargers. That's that Chiefs team. Boy, they're an enigma. That's a team that it plays way better than their record always states. I just feel like if they could win some of those games, it seems like they win the games they're supposed to, and then they lose the games they're supposed to. They just need to win a couple of those ones they're not supposed to win. They need to just play up a little better. That Chiefs team could be scary because that defense is real good.
Yeah. Hey, so a couple more movies I just remembered I'd watched.
Sure.
You got American Made. Good movie. Tom Cruise.
Nope.
Yeah. If you've ever followed the Pablo Escobar story, you're familiar with the story.
Sure.
About the pilot who was working for the CIA and stuff. No spoiler there. It's well-known fact. You find out 5 minutes into the movie. But good stuff. Enjoyed that movie. Let's see. What else? My wife watched The Polka King. She enjoyed that.
They're not going for the field goal, buddy. I'm sorry. But, hey. Yeah, pretty good. 38-20, 41-20. That's
yeah, I feel like I did all right.
I don't think anybody is surprised. Here's what I'm surprised about. I'm not surprised that the Lions won this game. I'm surprised at how, 38-20, there's a garbage time touchdown in there. I'm surprised at how really bad the Seahawks looked. And
they're bad. Very bad.
Yeah, we didn't make our official predictions on highly debatable for the division, but Seahawks would not be my pick right now. This is the year, if you're one of those other teams in the NFC West, it's your year for the taking, because this Seahawks team looks old, and they look it just can't keep up. That defensive line should be good, and they couldn't do a thing against a Lions offensive line that is not great. They're not bad, but I'm just surprised to see how dominated the Seahawks looked, and I'm scared for what their season looks like.
Scared for what their season looks like. Probably somewhere around 7-9, because that's, basically what they do.
Well, we are just about at the end of this game. Again, we'll have our selection for our NBL Live Player of the Game. here for broadcast number 165. Hey, by the way, Cavs up at the half over the Warriors, 64-57. By how bad the Cavs have looked this year, that's shocking. They have looked, since IT came back, that team has looked real bad. But
plenty of time to blow that lead.
Oh, yeah, there's absolutely, 100%. As the Lions are just going to take the last knee on this one that they need to and get out of here with a win at home. They'll go to 1-0. Sonny, are the Lions your favorite to repeat as Super Bowl champs, or you got another team you like?
Well, I think they're the obvious favorite until somebody can beat them. They are the reigning champions, and yeah, they're looking tough.
In the words of Bruce Buffer, the reigning, defending, undisputed champions of the NBL. And they get a big win here in Week 1 over the Seattle Seahawks, 38-20. Nice job from the Detroit Lions. They start out 1-0 on the season. And it's time to make our selection for NBL Live Player of the Game here for broadcast number 165. Sonny Weaver, Matt Stafford had a nice game. I wouldn't say he was great, though. Honestly, the defense played really well. The guy that sticks out to me, though, I was thoroughly impressed with P.J. Albury. But what are your thoughts on play of the game here for broadcast 165?
Well, I'm not sure you can give it to P.J. Albury. Obviously, he left the game early in this one, so you had backups playing. And I think the best run of the night actually came from his backup. Can't remember if that was Cox or Wilson. I tend to lean to Matthew Stafford. The guy does nothing but win. Quarterbacks, they say they get all the credit. Well, maybe Harvey Beckham for that great run after the catch touchdown. There's a lot of choices. But
I would be Matthew Stafford, 63% completion percentage, 204 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I guess we'd give it to Matt Stafford because he was able to find the receivers when he needed to. It just seems like he didn't have to do a whole lot, but when he was required to make plays, Stafford, quarterback rating of 146.8, 711, 204, and 2 touchdowns. Pretty good stat line. So Matt Stafford will be your player of the game for broadcast number 165. You, of course, can check out the archives of all of our player of the game selections over on our website. That's at 365.maddenbomberleague.com. That NBL Live schedule once again, Sonny Weaver, before we get out of here. Next week, you will not be on the call because you got yourself a game here on NBL Live. It is the Titans and the Chargers. My first question for you is, do you have any PTSD facing the Chargers?
No, we've exercised those demons, and we're looking forward to a good game, and hopefully the Chargers team is healthy because we've been playing a weird second string mashup of players the last couple times we played them.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see this game early in the season. Titans and Chargers, two of the best teams in the AFC, facing off next week. That game time will be determined in not too long, but you can go follow us on @BomberLeague on Twitter. That's where we'll announce the game time, or just hit that subscribe button down below. That way you'll know when we go live. But that's going to do it for us tonight, folks. We appreciate you joining us, helping us kick off Season 29 of NBL Live. For my co-host, Sonny Weaver, I'm OSU. Your final score, once again, the Detroit Lions dominate the Seattle Seahawks 38-20. We'll see you next week for Titans and Chargers right here on NBL Live.